A rose by any other name to supersize your business. I got my rose mug today, my rose t-shirt on. Today's idiom, a rose by any other name, very famous idiom. I maybe someone hasn't heard of it, but I would be very, very surprised. It's been around for hundreds of years. It, of course, is from Romeo and Juliet's famous play, a rose by any other name would still smell as sweet, yada, yada, yada. Most people, or not most people, a lot of people will cut it down and shorten it when they're being sarcastic or derogatory about something. If they're really thinking something doesn't smell sweet or something's bad, they might say a rose by any other name and then not say would still smell as sweet. And what does this idiom mean? It comes from, of course, Romeo and Juliet. It was in, I believe, Act 2, Scene 2 of that play, where Juliet's talking about how terrible it is that the love of her life is from her family's rival and their family's enemy, and we all know how the story goes. But that's where it comes from. It actually means that what's inside of us is what's important. I absolutely, positively, 100% agree with that. It's what's on the inside that matters, and what we call things doesn't matter. We see a lot of this right now in the media and in the world and in politics and everything else, where people are naming things something different for their own reasons, for their own agenda, right? Think of white privilege or climate change. Climate change, guess what? All climate change says is that our climate is changing. Well, guess what? Our climate's changing all the time. When's the last time you tried to control the weather or control the climate? Not really humanly possible, is it? And we can do things and we can throw money at it, but chances are our climate's still going to continue to change. That's why it's such a farce, in my imagination, that we are using things like climate change as reasons to make political decisions. You know, let's pick things that we as human beings actually can control and not just make things up to move money around the board. Okay, that's my pontification about politics and climate change for the day. But when we name things something, or we give things a name, you know, so many things, especially during political times and political campaigns and with social media, are called things, or names are literally made up. People make things up and then define them and spread it around. It's how idioms came to be, right? People said something and it caught on. But what it means isn't what the words together mean at all. A rose by any other name doesn't mean if you call a rose a daisy that it still smells as sweet. It still smells as sweet as a rose. It's still a rose, even though we called it something different. And the truth is, we made up, as humans, language and the names for everything anyway. So we could go down that rabbit hole if we wanted to. So what does this have to do with growing and building and supersizing our business? I think it reminds us of several things. Number one, it's what's on the inside. It's our intent. It's what we're creating that matters most. And we want to make sure that that is coming out and people understand that message through our banding, through our branding, through the content and the messages that we share, whether it's through advertising or online social media, or our presence or speaking at different things, or being involved in different organizations, or contributing to different charities, for example. We want to make sure that what our company really is and what it stands for is clear and consistent. There are a lot of companies that, in speaking of politics, jump on the political bandwagons, often to their major detriment or demise. When we do that, when we aren't true to who we really are and ignore some of the noise that's going on in our world and society, we can go down a path that causes us a lot of damage. And I don't like to say anything is irreparable damage, but sometimes our reputation is. We all know of businesses that have gotten into a lot of hot water and then they've just popped back up under a different name. I think of the banking industry. There are a lot of in 2008, 2009, lots of banks went out of business, yet those same banks just came back under a different name and the guise of being different, yet here we are again with an interesting economy. So what's inside counts. Make sure you're communicating that. Make sure people that you interact with, both partner with, people that invest in your company or are part of your organization, or your customers and clients, know what you stand for, but also what you stand against. And again, I choose very wisely what I speak up about and what I don't, mainly because it doesn't have anything to do with my ability to help other people in the ways that I help them. You know, I don't believe personally that our ethnic background, our race, our religion, our sexual orientation, our how we identify as a person has anything to do with how we grow and build and supersize our business and how we make the world a better place. You know, a lot of businesses build themselves on those differences and on those platforms. And if that's for you, great, but I choose not to do that. And it's up to each and every one of us to choose what we want to do. And then my other thing, we actually talked about this yesterday, our why, our core values. Are we making sure that we're building those into our organization and they're a part of our culture and our company culture? So even if we were to leave the organization that we created will continue on making the world a better place in the way that we originally intended, that it won't just, you know, get new owners and new people and everything will go crazy and haywire. And you might end up with a totally different business impacting the world in a way that you never intended. So love to know your experience with this particular idiom, or rose by any other name. I actually like this idiom. Number one, I like roses. Who doesn't? Number two, well, I suppose there's people that don't like roses. Number two, how can we use it to build and grow and supersize our business? That's always up to us. That's what this little segment is about, is getting us to think for ourselves and actually consider, well, what does this mean to me? Have I ever heard this? Have I ever used this? Could I use this to get a point across and to communicate more effectively with the people I'm communicating with? That's the reason that I do it. All right. If I can help in any way, let me know. Otherwise, have an absolutely amazing day. Day before Christmas Eve. So it's one of my favorite days. All right. Have an awesome day, and I'll be with you tomorrow.